problem with occupational lung diseases, that is the next slide. That is, why is it important? Apart from it being very common, which I just told you, it is also important because we miss it and we as doctors mistreat our patients. कुछ को हम asthma का treatment दे देते हैं. Majority of them receive TB treatment not once but many times, and by that time it becomes too late. Why am I saying too late? Because in this disease, जल्दी किया तो ठीक है, late हो गए तो फिर कोई इलाज नहीं है. That's the problem with occupational lung disease. If you're able to remove the occupational agent early, if you're able to determine that there is an occupational agent causing this problem, फिर तो ठीक है. अगर हम ये नहीं पता लगा पाते हैं या रिमूव नहीं कर पाते हैं, so obviously the lung will have its consequences. और क्या consequences होंगे वही हमें आज बात करनी है. तीसरी चीज जो है, आई एम श्योर माय कम्युनिटी मेडिसिन कलीग्स विल बी टेलिंग यू, इसके कुछ लीगल और फाइनेंशियल implications हैं. So I'll not go into that detail. Another thing you'll realize, which I'll tell you after the objective, is what is the objective? To make a list of the major occupational lung disease, to understand how they present clinically, the gross understanding. पूरा डिटेल में हमें नहीं जाना है आज, because you're just starting, you'll be starting your clinic soon. तो basic चीजें हमें पता लगानी है. And most importantly, what are the 3 or 4 diagnostic parameters we'll be thinking? क्या टेस्ट करना है, क्या हिस्ट्री में पूछना है. So those things we'll be discussing. Okay. So you must have seen कि objectives में 3-4 चीजें covered नहीं हैं. क्या चीजें covered नहीं हैं? Just a moment. Obviously, I'm not talking about pathology or the pathophysiology because that would be taken by my pathology colleagues. I'm also not talking about the treatment because the primary treatment is prevention, which again my community medicine colleagues would be covering. But then diagnosis, occupational lung disease is of prime importance. और मैं before I start the talk, मैं basic चीजें बताना चाहूँगा. आप अभी शुरू करोगे history taking, clinical examination, यही से आपका clinic शुरू होगा. The first thing they will tell you is history and history, and you will find it, अरे क्या boring चीज है history लेना. नहीं, history is important and most important in occupational lung disease. We miss out that history of occupation. We do not go deep. कुछ diseases में आप देखोगे 40 years पहले occupational exposure के कारण आज malignancy हो रही है. The man changed his job. He has been doing something else for last 35 years. लेकिन उससे पहले जो job किया था, because of that, now he is having the problem. So history is of prime importance. Okay, so let's begin. Am I audible? Kanishka, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that a scorpion in your image? Yeah, it is a scorpion. Okay, unique. Nice. Coming back to the presentation, just a moment. Yeah. See, everybody who's exposed to some of the occupational agent will not end up having occupational lung disease, right? There are many things which are variables. ये variable के बारे में पता होना चाहिए. And one big chunk of variable which is not in this list is what? The genetic parameters, which many of us are not sure of. Everybody exposed to silica will not end up, same amount of silica will not end up having silicosis. So there is definitely a huge genetic component involved. But apart from that, I'll be talking of what other things. The most important part is कितने duration तक exposure हुआ. You will realize as I go disease by disease, duration is of very importance, vital importance. Duration के साथ साथ extent and type. You'll see कि the size of the particle, the chemical nature of the particle, or how long has been the exposure. What is the extent of exposure? By that I mean थोड़ा सा डस्ट एक्सपोज हुआ कि बहुत ज्यादा डस्ट एक्सपोज हुआ. आई विल एक्सप्लेन दैट टू यू इन सिलिकोसिस. सिलिकोसिस इज एक्सपोजर टू सिलिका डस्ट. तो उसमें आपको पता चलेगा सर एक्सटेंट से क्या मीन कर रहे हैं. टाइप ऑफ एक्सपोजर, उसका केमिकल कंपोनेंट क्या है वो आपको पता चलेगा कि एस्बेस्टोसिस में आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल कि किससे क्या होता है, उसमें अलग अलग टाइप्स हैं, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है. Then definitely you have something called the particle size. I'll come to that in the next slide. Particle size you are all expert because न्यूज़पेपर में आप पढ़ते हैं ना, क्या पढ़ते हैं पोल्यूशन के मामले में. व्हाट डू दे से अबाउट पार्टिकल साइज? व्हाट इज द टर्म दे यूज? एनीबॉडी? आई एम श्योर यू रीड न्यूज़पेपर्स नाउ. Nancy Watts, what is the term they use for particle size related to pollution? We call it PM, right? What is that PM? Particulate matter. Are you there, Nancy? Lakshmi? Janvi, Nidhi, anybody? Yeah, Janvi, you're there? Come on, respond. Don't. Are you there? Good afternoon. Janvi, Nidhi, Nancy, Lakshmi.
Good
Nobody.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Have you heard of that? Particulate matter, PM 2.5,
Yes, sir.
PM 10?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
So that is not only associated with pollution, those particles are also associated with organic diseases, organic lung disease. I'm sorry, occupational lung diseases. Because as you'll realize, particle size, particle extent of the exposure would make a difference. Apart from that, it also depends on workplace कैसा है, वहाँ ventilation proper है कि नहीं, is it a closed area or is it an open area? I'll give you an example. Mining हो रही है, if it's mining on the surface, it's called quarrying. And sometimes you mine deep into the ground. Obviously, the exposure will be so different. Ventilation would be different there. And finally, most important is whether the subject or the person is using protective equipment. और अभी तो N95 का जमाना है. So everybody is aware of this mask which protects us from particulate matter. N95, if you remember, it protects 95. Anybody is aware of N95 का मतलब क्या है जो हम मास्क पहनते हैं? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
कोई भी try करो.
95%.
95%.
95% protection from where? किस चीज का protection होता है? Very good. You
Particulate
said right.
matter of size 2.5.
Yes, wonderful. That's what I wanted to tell you. Is particulate matter 2.5 microns. That's where it matters. Now coming to a little more detail about these particles, you have to remember the terms. Anything which is more than 10 micrometer usually will not enter much. और नाक में, नाक के hair में और upper respiratory के बिल्कुल ही ऊपर अटक जाएगा. So that is not going to cause what is known as occupational lung disease. Okay. But it's the coarse matter 2.5 to 10 micrometer जिसको हम PM10 बोलते हैं. 10 micrometer से नीचे जो भी है, what will happen to those? That will cause deposition in the larger airways. So we'll have occupational lung disease which is affecting the larger airways. Similarly, particulate matter 2.5 will go lower down and cause problems in the lower airways, alveoli and that area. And then there is ultrafine which is less than 0.1 micrometer. अब ultrafine की अच्छी बात क्या है, वो हवा के साथ अंदर जाएगा, वहीं डिफ्यूज करते हुए घूमेगा और फिर बाहर भी आ जाएगा. But if some of the ultrafine particle gets deposited in the alveoli, उसका problem ये है कि they will cross into the blood circulation. Alveolo-capillary membrane को उसको करते हुए it will come and it would enter and it will have systemic effects, because that's why you must be reading. Hello, that's why you must be reading these days that diesel fume exhaust, diesel vehicles के जो exhaust हैं, they cause a lot of ultrafine particle release, and that's why you have systemic effects with that. Affects the brain, affects the heart. But all said and done, primary problem lung की है. इसमें एक चीज और you should also know कि it is the solubility of the particle that also matters. अगर जो chemical pollutant है या जो हमारा occupational exposure है, especially of the smoke, अगर वो water soluble है तो it will be absorbed in the upper airways. For example, nitrogen sulfur dioxide, okay, so it will be absorbed in the upper airways और फिर upper airway की problem करेगा, जैसे bronchoconstriction, asthma वाला presentation होगा, breathlessness ज्यादा होगी. और अगर वो नीचे जाता है, water soluble नहीं है तो it will go down. For example, nitrogen dioxide, तो what will that cause? That will cause alveolitis, तो वो निमोनिया वाला प्रेजेंटेशन होगा. You need not worry about that. आपको बस ये याद रखना है कि solubility पे डिपेंड करता है, साइज पे डिपेंड करता है, और बाकी जो पैरामीटर्स मैंने बताए हैं उस पे डिपेंड करता है. Now moving ahead, obviously this is the definition which I'm sure is coming up in the next lecture also. It is a disorder of the lung caused by exposure to dust, noxious particles, that is harmful particles, or gas at workplace. हमें ये ध्यान रखना है कि most of the occupational exposures, occupational lung disease require repeated sustained exposure. महीनों तक, सालों तक. हम diseases में आएंगे तो अभी आपको पता चलेगा, it requires long exposure. And finally, अगर एक साथ massive exposure होता है तो कुछ agents से you can even have acute presentation, और ये acute presentation always mimics an infection. So we have to have high index of suspicion. हमें अपने नाक कान खुले रखने पड़ेंगे as far as हिस्ट्री के बारे में. आंख कान, आई एम सॉरी, आंख कान खुले रखने पड़ेंगे. वी हैव टू सर्च फॉर द हिस्ट्री कि कोई ऑक्यूपेशनल एक्सपोजर ना हुआ हो, अदरवाइज हम उसको इन्फेक्शन मानते हुए ट्रीट करते रहेंगे, राइट? बट बाय एंड लार्ज इट्स अ क्रॉनिक डिजीज, लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग एक्सपोजर की जरूरत होती है. मूविंग अहेड, सो व्हाट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ,
So,
yeah, any
so
question?
the slides are visible.
Sorry, the slides are not visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's not visible now. Is it visible or not visible?
So not
Sir, it's
visible.
so visible.
एक second. Is it visible now?
No, sir. No, sir.
पहले visible था.
Yes, sir. We saw it till the variable slide.
उसके बाद से नहीं आ रहा है.
No, sir.
Okay, so probably I'll have to go out and come back again. Just a moment, please. Because मेरे यहाँ पे तो it's visible. Just a moment. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think it just disappeared. Okay, thank you so much for reminding me that. Okay, so the occupational lung disease can be because of the exposure to organic and inorganic. You know the difference? एक mineral based है और एक hydrocarbon से बना हुआ है. So जो mineral based dust exposure है, that causes pneumoconiosis. Now it can be primarily metals से होता है, and there are huge list of it. For example, tin, which is very commonly used, stenosis, iron you are aware of, causes siderosis. All the heavier metals can cause heavy metal disease, but then these names you need not remember. कुछ main चीजें हैं जो आपको याद करनी पड़ेंगी, and I'll come to that. So what I'm trying to tell you is जरूरत से ज़्यादा exposure to any one of these mineral dust can cause problems. Similarly, you have problems when you are exposed to organic agents and allergens. उसमें अलग-अलग variety of presentation हो सकती है. Biocinosis जो number 3 पे है, that is exposure to cotton dust. It's a very unique presentation and it mimics as asthma. But we'll talk about that in our slides. The second one is occupational asthma जो मैंने दिया है. It's beyond the scope of today's talk, but then this is the commonest occupational lung disease. So if somebody asks you, सबसे common occupational lung disease क्या है? Obviously it's occupational asthma. 15% of asthmatics have that. वो हम आपको बाद में we'll talk about that in detail when we discuss asthma when you come in 4th semester and 8th semesters to us. तीसरा है hypersensitivity pneumonitis. See, all of them causes immune response, but थोड़ा अलग है. Occupational asthma is a type 1 hypersensitivity response, जो immediate response होता है. जबकि hypersensitivity pneumonitis causes, it's a combination between type 3 and type 4. But what you have to remember is, इसमें asthma का presentation अलग है, hypersensitivity pneumonitis का अलग है, and I'll talk to you about that. And obviously there's a group of lung cancers, malignancies which happen because of occupational exposure to various agents. I'll not go into the detail. दो नाम आपको याद रखने होंगे. I'll tell you that later. Now coming to the first one, pneumoconiosis. As the name suggests, I'm sorry, just a moment. So first we'll talk about the types of pneumoconiosis. The commonest ones which you should know is coal workers pneumoconiosis. As the name suggests, exposure to coal. Silicosis is the other one, asbestosis and berylliosis. These are the four we'll be discussing. There are many, but these are the four major. Similarly, on exposure to organic agents, you end up having what is known as hypersensitivity pneumonitis, and the examples are, you will see कि ये सारे जो diseases हैं, they are caused by organic agents. And as you see the names, farmer's lung disease, poultry workers disease, bird breeders disease. A bird breeder disease is a big basket of disease. It could be parakeets. In our daily surroundings in the urban area, it is the pigeon breeder's lung, which is important. Pigeon is causing a lot of problems as far as bird breeder's lung is concerned. Then sugarcane, because we are in the western part of the country, Western India, and has a lot of sugarcane, and our farmers end up having what is known as bagasosis, mushroom worker's lung, and grain handler's lung. These are the major ones. How do you diagnose it? Again, history, and history. It is very important कि एक detailed history ले. because the other parameters may not be very specific. I'll tell you why. Lung function test is the other one. It will tell you, lung function test is useful because you follow up your patient, you get to know whether the lung function is worsening over a period of time. Follow up के लिए बहुत अच्छा है. But at the time of diagnosis, it may be very difficult because most of these occupational lung disease में restriction तो होता है, but it can be a mixed pattern. You can have a obstruction also. The obstruction or restriction आपको याद है? Physiology, you have read? I'm sorry. Am I audible? Because.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Sorry, my Teams just disappeared. Just a minute, please. Sorry. So physiology में आप लोगों को याद है? Spirometry में obstruction and restriction. Anybody? Can just somebody tell me? Spirometry you have done in physiology, right? What do you do?
Yes, sir.
You do FEV1 and FVC measurements. If you remember, हम लोग क्या करते थे? Sorry, just a moment. My slides are going up and down. Just a minute, please. Yeah, here we are. Just, I'm sorry. Just give me a. Yeah. So if you remember, spirometry में क्या देखते थे हम लोग? We would make our patient blow out as hard and as fast we could. We called it FVC. फिर हम लोग उसका first second में कितना उसने हवा निकाली, which is FEV1, and we would see the ratio of it. If you remember, ratio अगर low होता था, we would call it obstructive lung disease. अगर ratio normal है, but the absolute numbers are low, FVC and FEV1 is low, but the ratio is normal, we would call it restriction. So as I was saying in the previous slide, spirometry में almost all occupational lung disease will have restriction, but it is not always only restriction. उसके साथ आपको obstruction भी हो सकता है. So spirometry may be a good tool, but may confuse you also. So that's why I keep repeating every class. History is important. अगर आपको history है, उसके साथ spirometry, then obviously it helps you. The other two tests are also important. Lung volumes. As you see, most of these diseases cause fibrosis and damage to the lung. So lung will shrink and you will have low lung volumes. And उसी का एक associated feature है diffusion capacity. So when you do a lung function test of diffusion capacity, ये बताता है आपकी alveolo-capillary membrane का integration. If you remember, alveolo-capillary membrane से gas exchange होती है. So obviously diffusion capacity will be low. But then clinicians use radiology mostly to confirm a diagnosis, apart from history of course, to confirm the diagnosis. और उसमें CT scan का बहुत ज़्यादा role है. X-ray is more of a screening tool. I'll talk about X-ray subsequently, and ultrasound to rule out pleural effusion. There's a group of lung function, occupational lung disease where you have pleural effusion. Pleural effusion means accumulation of fluid in pleural space. So वहाँ ultrasound का role है. Okay. So moving ahead, this part I have already told you. Restriction is the most commonest lung function spirometry findings in most of the occupational lung disease. Coming to the first occupational lung disease. If you remember, there are three kinds of coal available in the world. Anybody from Tamil Nadu in the class? Anybody from Tamil Nadu? Nope. Mehak Agarwal, are you there? Mehak?
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा सा केमिस्ट्री याद है 12th का? क्या क्या टाइप्स ऑफ कोल हुआ करते थे?
Sir, lignite, anthracite.
Wonderful. Or bituminous. Okay.
Yes.
Indian coal are fortunately mostly bituminous, and south mein I was asking Tamil Nadu because world's largest lignite mine is in Neyveli, Tamil Nadu. But then that's not part of today's class. What I'm trying to say is सबसे ज्यादा जो सबसे प्योर कोल होता है एंथ्रासाइट, उससे कोल वर्कर्स निमोकोनियोसिस होता है. That is just anecdotal point. What I would like you to remember is it requires 15 to 20 years of exposure history. तो आपका हिस्ट्री वहां इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा. 15 to 20 years के बाद up to 12 to 20% patients will have what is known as simple coal workers pneumoconiosis. सिंपल कोल वर्कर्स निमोकोनियोसिस के लंग में छोटे छोटे फाइंडिंग्स होंगे, छोटे छोटे नोड्यूल्स नजर आएंगे. This patient's lung function will be normal. He may not have any symptom at all. Or just routine screening में पता चलता है. But as time goes by, some of them would end up having a complicated Kohlwerker's pneumoconiosis, where these छोटे-छोटे nodules join together and become large. Okay, एक सेंटीमीटर के बड़े-बड़े गोल-गोल नजर आएंगे. I'll show you the X-rays. Don't worry. So when that happens, the patient starts having symptom, breathlessness, chest tightness, cough, and some unfortunate one would end up with a large fibrosis happening. I'll show you the slide of that also. So yes, transition है. Simple Kohlwerker से complicated or complicated से fibrosis. We call it progressive massive fibrosis. And yes, Kohlwerker's pneumoconiosis is associated with smoking. So हमारी हिस्ट्री सही होनी चाहिए और हमारे रेडियोलॉजी से हम डायग्नोस करेंगे एसोसिएटेड विद हिस्ट्री. एक चीज मैं और बताना चाहूंगा बिफोर आई मूव ऑन, और वो है कि Kaplan syndrome क्या है. You should all know. Some of these occupational lung disease, especially silica and coal, is being associated with connective tissue disorders, especially rheumatoid arthritis. The real reason is not clearly understood, but हमें ये पता होना चाहिए कि हम occupational exposure है तो हमें rheumatoid arthritis की history ढूंढनी पड़ेगी, and the term is called Kaplan syndrome. Now, how to diagnose? I'll come to the next slide, because screening is done on the basis of history and X-ray. Now, X-ray में International Labour Organization have classified pneumoconiosis X-ray findings. There can be various kind of X-ray finding, but the commonest, as I told you, is छोटे-छोटे दाने, the nodules which happens. So the nodules are classified as PQR depending on the size, which is mentioned on your slide. Now, this is important because this shows progression. किसी का P है और एक साल बाद R हो गया, so obviously we have to intervene and make sure he moves out of that job. There are many other consequences of that. So what you have to remember is X-ray में हम patient की severity classify कर सकते हैं, especially Kohlwerker's pneumoconiosis में और silicosis में. But then, as sir told before, we need more better radiological tools, which is a CT scan. So I'll show you a CT scan finding. The left one on your screen is an X-ray. As you see, छोटे-छोटे nodular दाने नजर आ रहे हैं. They are not that small anymore. In fact, they are like Q and R together. And when you see on the right side, you can clearly make out दो fibrotic patches हैं. I'm sure. Is it clear? Though this is just an introductory look of X-ray and CT. Don't worry, we'll be teaching you that when you come for your chest posting. This is just a gross idea of how X-rays would look like. Left वाले छोटे-छोटे दाने नजर आ रहे हैं in X-ray, and on the right you have fibrosis happening. Okay, so this is how Kohlwerker's pneumoconiosis progresses. Coming to the next disease, which is asbestos. Now, asbestos is a very interesting mineral because it causes so many diseases. It is made up of crystal fiber of magnesium silicate, various silicates actually, but magnesium silicate is the commonest one. अब इसमें the interesting part of asbestos is there are different kinds of these fibers. So if the fiber is more of wavy, curvy, they do not reach the depth of the lung at the alveoli. So they are relatively safer. So they are known as chrysotile is the commonest of them, as you can see on the slide. Fortunately, chrysotile is the safest of them all, लेकिन उससे भी सारी problems होती हैं. And crocidolite is the dreaded one. सबसे खतरनाक crocidolite है. उसकी advantage, उसका disadvantage क्या है? It's needle shape. It goes deep within. Okay. So wavy fibers do not cause much damage, whereas the needle-shaped one causes a lot of damage. And what diseases does it cause? Asbestosis, we'll be talking about it in the next slide. It's a fibrotic occupational lung disease, but it can cause malignancy also. Commonest malignancy is lung cancer. Please remember, mesothelioma term use होता है asbestos के साथ, but commonest is lung cancer. दोनों में एक फर्क है. Lung cancer के लिए you need years of exposure, over 20 years of exposure at least. जबकि मेसोथेलियोमा 1-2 साल के एक्सपोजर के बाद भी हो सकता है, और जरूरी नहीं है कि तभी होगा. When you take history, you'll find out कि 40 साल पहले asbestos exposure था. Okay, but apart from that, सबसे common presentation तो pleura में होता है. Pleural thickening, which is known as pleural plaque. I think I'll have a photo of that. And pleural space में पानी भर जाना, pleural effusion is common with asbestosis, with asbestos exposure. And as I told you, ultrasound का role I'll tell you कहाँ पे है. So asbestos related lung disease में एक ultrasound करना पड़ सकता है to find out pleural effusion. Okay, but the commonest disease among occupational here is asbestosis, apart from the pleural plaque, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. Yeah, so asbestosis is a form of pneumoconiosis which happens with long-term exposure to asbestos, at least 15 to 20 years. All of this, silicosis, asbestosis, coal workers pneumoconiosis, you need long-term exposure, 15 से 20 साल. Okay. And where do you find asbestos? Obviously, it's a huge list. सबसे common जो पहले होता था वो था ship building में, ship बनने में और ship तोड़ने में. All the olden ships are broken down. So ship building and ship breaking workers. Apart from that, it's a very good insulating material. So heating or ventilation engineers, electricity में use होता है, electricians. जो पुराने जमाने के फायर फाइटिंग क्लोथ्स होते थे, that also was made of asbestos. So फायर फाइटिंग इक्विपमेंट से जो काम करते हैं, it is also used in plumbing and roof. Asbestos की छतें बनती थी. Okay. So how do you make a diagnosis of it? As I told you, answer हमेशा same है. History and history. History is most important. उसके बाद obviously your patient will present with progressive breathlessness, chronic problem होगी, धीरे धीरे सांस की problem, weakness आएगी, and when you do a PFT you will get, as I said, restrictive finding, restriction आएगा, and you will confirm तो नहीं होगा, but you will make your diagnosis sure by radiology. अब हम देखते हैं asbestosis में radiology कैसे दिखता है. Asbestosis, unlike coal workers pneumoconiosis, lower lobe में ज्यादा होता है. Coal workers pneumoconiosis जो अभी मैंने पहले बताया था वो upper lobe में ज्यादा होता है. If you remember, progressive massive fibrosis दोनों ऊपर की तरफ थे. Let's see asbestosis में क्या होता है. Okay, diffuse है लेकिन नीचे की तरफ ज्यादा है. You are seeing this pleural plaques. I know X-ray is very new to you, तो देखना बड़ा मुश्किल है. Left side में जो आपको नजर आ रहा है वो pleural plaques है, जो गोल गोल से व्हाइट पैचेस नजर आ रहे हैं, और राइट साइड में जो छोटे छोटे दाने हैं, as I told you, फाइब्रोसिस होता है. दिस इज अ पिक्चर ऑफ प्रोग्रेसिंग लंग फाइब्रोसिस. बट एज यू सी, कोल वर्कर्स में अपर लोब में था, यहाँ मिडिल और लोअर लोब में ज्यादा है. आगे चलते हैं. नाउ कमिंग टू वन ऑफ द कॉमनेस्ट ऑक्यूपेशनल लंग डिजीज, सिलिकोसिस. सिलिकोसिस होता है मिट्टी से कोई भी काम करे. मिट्टी कम्स फ्रॉम रॉक्स, सो इसका बहुत बड़ा वाइड स्पेक्ट्रम है. सो एनीबडी इज वर्किंग in stone crushing, stone polishing, sand blasting, cement industry, construction industry, glass में use होता है. But then silicosis is again like other asbestosis, बहुत लंबा 15-20 साल का exposure है. But एक छोटी सी चीज है, if there is a very acute exposure of बहुत ज्यादा सिलिका, वो कैसे हो सकता है? सिलिका आता कहाँ से, by the way? It's a sort of crystalline quartz material which causes the problem, जो हर मिट्टी में होता है. सबसे ज्यादा ग्रेनाइट जो हमारा रॉक होता है उसमें होता है. फॉर एग्जांपल, एक टनल बन रही है and they blast the tunnel. The worker there, if he is working without protection, may end up with silicosis which is acute in nature. बहुत rare है. And again, acute presentation is like an infection, as I told you. Fever होगा हमारे patient को, खांसी होगी, अचानक breathlessness शुरू होगा और हम लोग सोचेंगे infection हुआ है. So occupational history जरूरी है. But then majority of silicosis is chronic. 15 से 20 साल का एक्सपोजर, सो स्लोली प्रोग्रेसिव ब्रेथलेसनेस हमारे पेशेंट को होगा. एंड दैट्स हाउ इट इज. एक्सरे में नजर आएगा 2-3 चीजें. एज यू कैन सी, द फाइब्रोसिस कैन बी क्लियरली सीन इन द एक्सरे, और सीटी स्कैन में आप देखोगे पूरा लंग इन्वॉल्व हो गया है. सो अगर हमने प्रॉपर हिस्ट्री नहीं ली और पेशेंट को उसके ऑक्यूपेशन से थोड़ा दूर नहीं हटाया, या फिर मोर इंपॉर्टेंटली प्रोटेक्टिव इक्विपमेंट्स नहीं दिए लाइक अ मास्क, he would end up with this sort of fibrotic lung change. नीचे वाला एक्सरे में सीटी इसलिए डाला है, उसको क्रेजी पेविंग अपीयरेंस बोलते हैं. आपको बिल्कुल याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं, बट वो दिखने में बिल्कुल पेवमेंट जैसा होता है, छोटे छोटे पेवमेंट बने हुए, एंड द टर्म इज क्रेजी पेविंग. सिलिकोसिस इज वन ऑफ द कॉमन कॉज ऑफ दैट. आगे चलते हैं. सिलिकोसिस की दो और खासियत है, and we'll talk about that. Silicosis also affects the lymph nodes, and the lymph node look like उबले अंडे. Can anybody appreciate the uble andes on this CT, on this X-ray? Anshika, Janvi, Nidhi, anybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for seeing the uble andes. This is what is known as axial calcification. The lymph nodes end up calcified like this. It does not happen in all, but up to 20% of silica patient. अगर आपको कोल वर्कर्स pneumoconiosis याद होगा, वहां पे भी मैंने बोला था सिंपल, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड एंड प्रोग्रेसिव मैसिव फाइब्रोसिस, ट्रांजिशन, छोटे छोटे नोड्यूल्स से 1 सेंटीमीटर वाले गोल गोल नोड्यूल्स, और उसके बाद लंग की फाइब्रोसिस. सिलिकोसिस में भी यही होता है. सिलिकोसिस में एक और खासियत है, इट डैमेजेस द मैक्रोफेजेस, alveolar macrophages. And if you remember, macrophages, what does it do? It protects us against tubercular and fungal infections. So patients with silicosis are prone to tuberculosis as well, and the term is called silicotuberculosis. It's a very common cause of tuberculosis in patients who are occupationally at risk. Silicosis is one of them. Okay, and the term is silicotuberculosis. I'll move on to the next one. This is, as the industry is becoming high tech, beryllium is a very lightweight metal and it is used in nuclear reactors. It is used in high-end ceramics and electronic circuits. So anybody who is exposed to beryllium, बहुत ज़्यादा exposure में acute pneumonitis होता है, rare. But then chronic beryllium disease, again presentation is similar to what we discussed, slowly progressive breathlessness. लेकिन इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम है. इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि अगर हम ऑक्यूपेशनल हिस्ट्री नहीं लेंगे तो इट वुड definitely mimic a very common granulomatous disease of the lung, which you will very soon learn in pathology. आपने पढ़ लिया होगा, and it is called sarcoidosis. If you remember, sarcoidosis में non-caseating granuloma होता है, आपको pathology में पढ़ाया गया है. It also involves the lymph nodes and the lungs. Same happens with beryllium, chronic beryllium disease. तो distinguish कैसे करेंगे? Fortunately, chronic beryllium disease में delayed hypersensitivity response आता है. So what we do is beryllium lymphocyte proliferation test. बहुत आसान है, बहुत सिंपल टर्म में अगर मैं बोलूं, जो एक्सपोज्ड पेशेंट है उसके lymphocytes को बाहर निकालने और इन विट्रो हम टेस्ट करें. We expose them to beryllium salts. If the lymphocytes start proliferating, we know our patient has likely to have chronic beryllium disease. Otherwise, अगर response नहीं है तो unlikely to have chronic beryllium disease. It's not an absolute test, but this test you have to remember. Okay, moving on now. This is important because Monday chest tightness is quite common. पहले बहुत होता था, especially in cotton industry. अगर वीकेंड के बाद या छुट्टी के बाद एक दिन पेशेंट वर्कर आता है तो on the first day of exposure या फिर छुट्टियों के बाद आता है तो he has chest tightness and the presentation is like asthma. Please remember, मैंने अब तक जो भी बोला है, I said presentation में restrictive lung disease predominant है. ये पहला occupational lung disease है जहाँ obstruction ज्यादा है. एस्थमा की तरह प्रेजेंट होता है. पीएफटी करोगे तो आपको ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन मिलेगा. Smokers have more likely to develop this disease. Again, I'll tell you, it happens due to exposure of cotton dust, breathlessness और cough. इसमें भी होता है, लेकिन पीएफटी में obstruction होती है. And this is very common in India, Western India again. Coming to almost at the end of my talk, coming to what is known as the farmer's lung disease. This is the second most commonest hypersensitivity pneumonitis in India. It happens जब हम वो फसल को काट के रख देते हैं और उसमें फंगस ग्रो करने लग जाता है, पानी भी उसमें गिरेगा, फार्मर जाके उसको हटाएगा तो उसमें स्पोर्स निकलते हैं. The commonest spore is from the fungus Thermophilic actinomycetes. तो ये repeated exposure हर साल या हर सीजन में अगर होता रहे तो obviously patient develops hypersensitivity to it. अगर आपको याद हो कौन सी hypersensitivity थी, type 3 and type 4. And I'm so sorry. Yeah, so farmer's lung disease has again acute and subacute presentation as well as chronic. Subacute और chronic मैंने आपको बता दिया, धीरे धीरे होता है. Subacute is matter of months to year. Chronic may even up to decade, but it is the acute presentation which causes problem because as I said, क्या होगा? More like an influenza, more like a flu presentation. Acute onset fever, running nose, cough, malaise, fatigue, short duration में. लेकिन acute की एक अच्छी बात भी है, अगर हम सही समय पे एक्शन लें, if we remove the agent away from the patient or if we tell them to wear protective, this is completely reversible. That's why your role as a budding doctor would be very important कि आप occupational lung सोचें और वो acute वाले phase में ही पकड़ लें, and that way you will save the patient's lung from getting fibrosed. Okay. Anything special in the diagnosis of farmer's lung? Yes, serum precipitin. बाकी चीजें बात हो चुकी है. Imaging, PFT and history you already know. Serum precipitins important है. Here we see IgG antibody against that agent. For example, या thermophilic actinomycetes है तो उसके against IgG अगर मिलेगा तो we know our patient is sensitized. ऐसा ही एक और disease है bird breeder's lung. It is the commonest form of hypersensitivity pneumonitis, especially in urban India. Happens due to exposure to avian protein. अब avian protein क्या हो सकता है? उनके feathers से आ सकते हैं या उनकी जो droppings होती है उससे हो सकता है. Again, you have acute and chronic presentations. Please remember, your role is to catch in acute. Chronic में बहुत देर हो जाता है. As you can see in the CT scan tells us bird breeder's lung हुआ है if we have the history and the PFT shows restriction. So again, history will tell us about the exposure. PFT will most likely show restriction. And when you do radiological findings, CT scan, you see the obviously fibrous lung, जो आपको इस CT scan में दिख रहा है, पूरा lung दोनों तरफ अच्छी तरह से fibrous हुआ पड़ा है. So this is irreversible. So budding doctors will have to remember कि हमें ये हाल होने नहीं देना अपने patient का, right? I think I'm almost at the end of my talk. Yeah, here I am. And I have put this road just to remind you that this is the beginning of your journey in lung disease. You'll be coming to us in 4th semester and 8th semester. So बहुत कुछ देखना है. This was more like an introductory talk. And have a good day. I'm open to questions. I think there's just 1 minute left for my 50-minute target, which I had kept. So I can take maybe 1 or 2 questions, please. कोई सवाल? Thank you so much. Thank you. Any question? Right. I also mentioned pleural disease because सबसे common वही होता है. Right. So shall I elaborate on that, or you have another question? You have a question related to that? Very good, very good question. The timeline is very interesting because mesothelioma can happen quickly. Mesothelioma, you may have a long wait period. For example, mesothelioma can happen 30-40 years after the exposure, but then the exposure can be very brief. What do I mean by brief? Even a 2-year exposure is adequate to have mesothelioma. Unlike lung cancer, by lung cancer, obviously our pathology may also, even adenocarcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, even small cell carcinoma, all three have been known to happen with exposure to asbestos, but then there you need at least 15 to 20 years of exposure. ये major difference है. Pleural plaques can happen to anybody working with asbestos, but again you need a decade of exposure. Asbestosis is again same as the other, silicosis, Kohlwerkers pneumoconiosis, 15 से 20 साल का exposure होना चाहिए. If patient is very unlucky कि बहुत ज़्यादा exposure हो, you can have it at 10 years also. Please remember the acute diseases where कहाँ पे hypersensitivity pneumonitis में acute हो सकता है, silicosis में acute हो सकता है. Okay, when you have बहुत ज़्यादा exposure, उसमें भी timelines अलग-अलग हैं, but maybe at your level you need not know that. आपने पूछा तो मैं बता देता हूँ. Hypersensitivity का acute is matter of hours, whereas silicosis का acute is matter of exposure for weeks to months. Okay, so that is how it is. It depends on various diseases, but your question was good. Yes. Any other question? I think another question I can take and then I'll hand over. That's it? Okay. Anybody from pathology here? Any faculty from pathology? Yeah, ma'am, I would leave then. I think I'll hand over to the organizers, and thank you so much. There's probably a talk from the community medicine department. Thank you so much for inviting.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm Dr. Ekta, Assistant Professor, Community Medicine Department. The organizers, can I continue with the talk now?
Yes, ma'am, you can start. Dr. Ekta, you can start your this thing. Sorry,
Okay.
Some technical glitch was there in connection. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. Is the screen visible to you?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So as we have understood about the various occupational health hazards, occupational health diseases that we have been this has been elaboratively covered by Sir. So basically, when we aim at the occupational lung diseases or occupational health hazards or occupational diseases, basically what is occupational health? We should have that concept in our mind. In occupational health, we aim to have the maximum. In occupational health, we basically want to promote and then maintain the highest possible level of the physical, mental, as well as the emotional health. We want to attain the best possible degree of the health whosoever is working in any particular occupation, right? But because of the various occupational hazards, the persons they are exposed to various other diseases, right? So all those diseases that have been taught to us by sir, so we won't be taking those diseases now. So we'll be now focusing only on the prevention aspect. Since majority of these occupational diseases they are of preventive nature, so we can prevent them before occurrence only by taking certain measures. So we'll be discussing in brief only those measures now. Yeah. So when we aim to the prevention of occupational diseases, there are certain medical, engineering, and legislative measures we talk about. Okay. First is the concept of ergonomics. Ergonomics means that the person or the job they should be mutually fit to each other, right? So that we can have the maximum efficiency and we can minimize the risk of the diseases, and the person can perform his or her work very efficiently. So fitting the job as well as the person, both mutually fitting to each other, is the concept of ergonomics. And based upon this concept, when the job should be fit to the person and the person should be fit to the job, right? And this can be achieved by having certain measures like the medical measures, like the engineering measures, certain legislative measures, they are required to attain it. For example, when we talk about various medical measures to achieve this ergonomics concept, okay, first there is a concept of pre-employment medical checkup. This is done at the time of the employment. When the person is being recruited for the job, at that time we usually know that the medical checkups are being done, like the person has to undergo a battery of physical investigations, battery of other x-rays and other blood investigations. All these things are carried out at that time. So by this pre-employment medical checkup, we get to know if the person has any disease that can make him further susceptible to the employment. Okay, for example, if a person has anemia and if he or she is going to work in the lead industry, then this can lead to any health hazard to that particular person. So in this way, this pre-employment medical checkup, it has its own importance. Similarly, there are certain diseases which have a very long incubation period. They develop so gradually. For example, a person is working in some industry, so the onset of cancers they take up to even years to develop. So the periodic medical examinations are also very important. That there should be monthly periodic medical examinations of all the persons working in a particular industry. Am I audible? Are you guys listening?
Yes,
In case I'm not audible or the screen is not visible, please let me know that moment. Okay. Similarly, there should be the industry or the any employment source where the person is working, it should have the provision of providing the immediate medical and healthcare services to the even to the employee as well as to his or her family member. Then all these occupational diseases, they are made notifiable in case we get to know about any example. For example, say we get to know any incidence of silica or silicosis or silicotuberculosis in any particular area. Okay, then under the Factories Act, all these diseases, they are to be notified so that necessary and immediate actions can be taken for further prevention, right? Then timely risk assessment should be done for the working environment. Say for example, if all the say for example the workload should be okay. Okay, then so all these things, so all this risk assessment, that should be done. Then record maintenance is also another important factor. For example, if the person is working, then the employer should have the history of all the diseases, all the health hazards, all the health record book of that particular employee, and timely creating awareness about whatsoever diseases can be whatsoever hazards that that particular industry is prone to, and how they can promote the health. Timely awareness and education campaigns, they should be in short, right? So these are the certain medical measures that have to be taken while a person is working in a particular industry. Yeah, is it okay? Akanksha Yadav. Akanksha Yadav. Anjali Goyal.
Yes, ma'am.
Anjali, so are you clear about the medical measures that should be taken in order to prevent the
Yes.
occupational health hazards?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So apart apart from these medical measures, there are certain engineering measures also. So as per the name, like when we talk about the engineering measures, we talk about the design of the building, that the design should be in such that it should be robust. There should not be any domestic accidents. It should not be prone to any domestic accidents. It should have proper ventilation. Like for example, the Factories Act, it states that every person should be allowed 500 cubic space of the area, right? So as to ensure complete ventilation. So all these are the engineering measures that have to be taken care of while providing a safe environment for the workers, right? Then there are certain other techniques with which we can reduce the hazards in any particular industry or in any particular working environment. For example, we talk about mechanization. Mechanization is what, when we try to have the maximum possible work by the that is mechanized. For example, if we have to mix something, so okay, if we have to mix something, that it is probably it is tried that if that work can be done by some machinery, that it can definitely reduce the hazard to the worker. For example, if we have to transport acids, then if the transportation is done by the pipelines, okay, then it will be definitely a helpful thing to for the workers. Then it can have the reduced hazard to that particular workers. Okay, so mechanization is another process. Similarly is substitution, where we replace the harmful substances with the harmless substances. That is called the substitution. So for example, in match industry, white phosphorus is being used. We can replace it with some other harmless type of this white phosphorus. Okay, so another hazards related to this match industry, for example, phossy jaw, okay, that can be avoided. So these are certain processes or the certain engineering measures with which we can avoid the hazards in any industry, right? Then for example, we say about enclosure. Enclosure is what, when like for example, a person is working in the grinding industry, okay? So in grinding industry, the chemicals, they can escape into the atmosphere and they can lead to health hazards to various other people. So if that particular industry is completely enclosed and those chemicals, they are not allowed to escape into the environment, it can also protect the people, right? Then if a certain industry, it is involving the carrying out of some harmful processes, then it can be isolated. For example, it can be carried in the night time, so that the least number of people are exposed to that particular harmful processes, right? Then the wearing of the protective equipment, जैसे आजकल हम सब कोविड के टाइम में सुन रहे हैं, right? The wearing of various personal protective equipment like the mask, like the gloves, like the aprons, like the shields. So all these can also help in protecting of the any sort of the health hazards, right? So apart from these, there are many legislations that have also been taken care of in order to prevent the occupational hazards. Like these are the Factories Act 1948, then is the Employment then the ESI Act 1948, Workmen's Compensation Act, Plantation Labor Act, Mines Act. So there are so many legislations that have been made in order to ensure safety of the workers, right? So these are the basically three measures that we take in order to prevent the occupational hazards and to ensure the best possible occupational health to the workers, be it be physical health, be it be mental health, be it be the emotional health of the employees, right? So the medical measures, which involves various examinations at suitable times, then the various engineering measures like the design of the building, substitution, mechanization, enclosure, isolation. These are the various engineering measures, and apart from them, various legislations under which various provisions are being provided to the workers, so that they can be, so that in case they are harmed because of any hazard in the occupation, then they are given safety, they are given provisions regarding those particular hazards, right? So that's all for the preventive measures. So I won't be taking much of the time. In case you have any doubt from the preventive measures point of view, you can ask them. So any doubt to anybody? Janvi? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So are the preventive measures clear to you? Are the preventive measures for the occupational diseases clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So then we can hand over the session to the pathology organizers so that your next class, I guess, that is scheduled at 3 p.m. that can be taken.
Ma'am, can you repeat the space
Yeah.
that is allocated to one person working in a factory or a company?
Okay.
It's
As per
500 mm.
Yeah, it is 500 cubic feet of the space under the Factories Act that has been allotted to a particular worker. It is basically for the good ventilation and the good working atmosphere of that particular industry. It's a 500 cubic feet. That space is allocated to each person under the Factories Act.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Anybody? Komal?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, then thank you guys. Then you can continue with your pathology session. Dr. Jenna?